What is going on? We are back for another Nerdiculous podcast. Today I'm hanging out with two of my friends, Lex and Ryn, or we can just call him Ryn, because that's what he goes by. And today we are talking about anime. What's going on, everybody?
Hi, how's it going?
Hi. Hello.
I'm getting older. That's all I can say. Everything hurts.
Yeah, I feel that, man.
I understand that.
My ribs have been hurting for the past year and no one knows why.
Like the last 2 weeks, I've just had like this shoulder blade pain, like right behind my left shoulder blade. No matter how much heat I put on it, it doesn't fix it.
I feel that.
Getting old is terrible.
Are you exercising?
I haven't since the pain started. I've been trying to okay, it'll go away and then I can start working out again.
Have you tried taking a nice bath?
Yeah, I think I like pulled something in my in my shoulder because I do like the same routine every week because I don't really feel like going to a public gym, and my school's gym is closed and my company's gym is closed, so it's pretty much work out at home, and I don't have too much in the weight department, so it's just do the same routine over and over again.
Yeah, I've just been cycling. Sorry, go ahead, Ryn.
No, it's all good. I just currently I'm actually doing okay physically, weirdly enough, but I have had my fair share of very unusual pains, issues that I haven't understood. And
I think it's also
I had to buy a fancy ass pillow.
You should always want to buy a fancy ass pillow to begin with. Like I pretty much don't, if it's not like more than like $30 or $40, I don't get it. Like I'm always be like, oh, is it a memory foam pillow? All right, let me check this out.
Yeah, one of those ergonomic pillows that like adjusts, because I was getting terrible back pain, and then I got this pillow and a memory foam topper for my bed, and it seemed to somehow solve my problem.
Welcome to the Geriatric Anime Podcast.
Well, I think part of it is it's just the sedentary nature, like with everything going COVID, like you're not going out more. Like I still get in as many walks as I can with my dog, but I haven't been as active because a lot of stuff was shut down for months on end. And
yeah, I've been trying to find like any reason to take a walk. Oh, I mean, it's about to rain. I'll enjoy that. I need to go to the cafe twice in one day. I just want to be in a graveyard.
Yeah. Well, it also doesn't help that there's like 2 or 3 weeks straight where it was just in the mid and upper 90s, and then if it wasn't in the 90s, it was in the 80s and humid, so it felt 90s, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to be out here.
Yeah, I think the humidity here is just on a different level from what I can ascertain.
That's something that pretty much all my friends from like, I don't know, anywhere where it's like, American Southeast or Southwest, and it's just they talk about how hot it gets out there, and then they come over here and it's only 85, and yet they're dying because they can't even breathe the air.
So, it's just you don't know humidity?
Yeah. And mosquitoes. We have mosquitoes.
I've been bit so many times in the last couple weeks being outside. Like I pretty much have to wear pants, otherwise I'm gonna get bit up.
Yeah, I was sitting right here at my computer desk, I don't know, 2 days ago, and I got a welt the size of like a dime on my knee. From where? We don't have our windows open. They've just infiltrated.
And no one's going outside, so they're like, fuck it, we're going inside.
Oh yeah, every time we open the door, we immediately get like at least a couple flies.
Yeah,
we'll have to chase down.
I actually, there's a trick. You can put a handful of pennies in a bag of water, and it's supposed to help.
What? It's because copper?
Yeah, something about it will reflect. Supposedly it works.
That sounds like some old wives' tale.
That's what several of my neighbors would do. I'd see on their back porches, and they're like, "Yeah, we swear by it. It works." I can't say that I've seen it work, but I've also there was a time where I did it because I was like, fuck it, and it worked for a while, and then the flies just started getting in through my basement.
I think your neighbors are witches.
Probably. I mean,
it sounds like it.
But hey, they give me free food, So every once in a while, they're
Also,
like,
a
hey,
witchy thing to do. It's
yeah.
a witchy thing to do.
She's
is
like,
to
hey,
get-
it's Christmas, and I'm making my Christmas treats. Do you want some? I'm like, of course I do. It's delicious. But so I went on Netflix today because my favorite thing to do when I'm doing college stuff is to watch anime because nothing goes together like procrastination and homework. But the new season of Blue Exorcist came out, which I'm excited for. The only thing is I started watching season 1 and I'm just like I don't remember any, or I started watching season 2 and it's like I don't remember anything that happened in season 1 at all. Like I think it was like a year plus between season 1 and season 2 to where I'm just like I honest to God don't remember anything in these seasons. Like
Yeah, is that another part of getting old? Because I definitely experienced that too.
no, it's the thing of like sometimes like an anime will come out with a season and then it'll take them another year or two.
Yeah.
And then it's like by then you've already watched like 3 or 4 different anime series and you're just like, oh, wow, this anime's been gone a really long time.
I had that issue
Okay, yeah.
way back when Kami-sama Kiss came out. I don't know if either of you watched that,
No.
but definitely super cute and about a girl becoming a god and all the other gods kind of being like, "What? You're a normal girl. You can't be a god." And she shows them. And that's the
That's
anime.
what it's about. It's about you.
Yep.
I don't know. So I started watching it again, and it's pretty good. Have you either of you ever seen Blue Exorcist?
I haven't. I'm reading about it though, and the plot line revolves around Rin Okumura, a teenager who discovers he and his twin brother Yukio are the sons of Satan born from a human woman. And he is the inheritor of Satan's powers. So that sounds really fun. Kind of like right up my alley.
Yeah. So the cool thing is one of the voice actors in it is Bryce Papenbrook, who is the voice of Meliodas from Seven Deadly Sins.
Okay.
And I've actually met Bryce on 2 occasions from working conventions. He's a super nice dude. And the last time I talked to him, I actually think it might have been a few years between the seasons because I remember talking to him about it and I was like, are they going to come out with another one? You know what it is? So season 1 was 2011 and season 2 was 2017 and they just put it on Netflix now, or at least it just popped in mind. So yeah, it was the first season was 2011 and season 2 came out in 2017. So it was a good distance between seasons, and that's probably why I forgot about it because I watched it. First episode aired April 17, 2011. Yeah. And actually, one of the other funny things is one of the characters, I didn't realize it, is Sam Riegel, who I watch on the Critical Role podcast or listen to.
Okay.
Have you ever seen the Critical Role? It's a D&D podcast.
I have not.
Okay, it's a bunch of voice actors, ironically enough, that play D&D together, and Sam Riegel is one of them. He's absolutely hilarious, but I didn't realize he was in it until I started watching the Critical Role. But no, so yeah, Blue Exorcist it is very silly style anime. It's the typical anime trope. The loser is the most powerful, and he's kind of an idiot, and he tries hard, but he can't seem to get anything right, and he has to focus and be more serious.
Okay. So
this is on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It popped up on my
Okay.
thing today when I was looking at it.
I think I've definitely seen it kind of floating around on our streams. I just have never bothered to kind of look into it.
We've been really bad about watching anime lately. We always talk about it. But
The
then
last one
we
I
just-
made Ryn get into was Black Butler, which is one of my favorite animes ever. Have you partaken in
I've
any
seen
Black
it.
Butler?
I watched the OVA, and then I watched like a bunch of it. And I remember like watching a season, and then like all of a sudden it was whatchamacallit? Like all of a sudden it was like Alice in Wonderland-esque, and I was like, I got really
Mm.
confused. Because I remember watching the season and all of a sudden there was a bunch of Alice in Wonderland stuff going on, and I just was so thoroughly confused about why.
Yeah, I don't think that happens in the first season, at least in my memory. It's been quite a while since I've seen to the end of season one. But I know there was like a season called like Book of Circus or something, and that
Yeah.
might have been
That's where
what
I
you
got confused, is when I was watching that one, and I was like, what this doesn't make sense. Why all of a sudden are we in a different universe?
But my favorite anime voice actor is in a lead role in Black Butler, J. Michael Tatum, who, you know, is in almost every anime ever. Are you familiar with him?
I've heard of him. I can't say I'm familiar with.
Let me see what else he's done here that's notable. He's in Borderlands 3, One Piece. He was in what? Dragon Ball Z. Oh, the video game. What else do we got here?
It's
He's in
funny.
Free.
It's funny how many voice actors that you hear, and then you're just like, wait a second. Like the girl who does Bulma from Dragon Ball, I have heard her in so many other anime that it just absolutely blows my mind. I'll be listening and it's like, wait a second, that's Bulma.
Yeah.
Tiffany
Well,
Ballmer.
I'm absolutely terrible at remembering actor and voice actors' names, but then I'll remember their voice and their face, and I will pause a show or a movie and just talk for 20 minutes about how I know this person, but I can't think of their name.
Okay.
And I won't ever even bother looking it up. I'll just talk and talk and talk about it. Like, who is this person? They were also in this thing and this thing. I know it. But then, I just sit there. I think I inherited that strange trait from my
Well,
mother.
I think what it is there's like a handful of American voice actors that get a lot of roles. Like Todd Haberkorn.
Yeah, they just
Right. So one of
have
these,
amazing representation or something.
I think the lady you were speaking about for Dragon Ball, Bulma was originally voiced by Tiffany Ballmer, and then she was replaced by Monica Rial, and Monica Rial is in like every anime as someone.
Yeah.
Monica Rial was also in Black Butler.
But her voice is so unique that every time I hear it, I'm like, that's Bulma.
Yep.
Like Todd Haberkorn, he is I would say most well known for Soul Eater.
Oh, I liked Soul Eater. It's definitely been a minute since I watched that though.
Yeah, not Soul Eater. He's Natsu from Fairy Tale.
I have never gotten into Fairy Tale personally. It just seems daunting. There's like a lot of it.
Yeah, they actually ended it. I just saw the series finale of it. A little while ago. I watched it a couple months ago when the whole quarantine happened and they released the final series, and I was like, oh yes. I was like, last season I finally get to know what happens. But the one thing that I wish they would have kept going, and I actually I met Todd Haberkorn once at an anime convention, and the question that got brought up was, would he be interested in another Soul Eater? And he was pretty adamant about he would do it, because it was Soul Eater I think was only one season.
Yeah, one or two, I think.
Yeah, I think it was only one season, but it was like 50 episodes, like 50 or 51 episodes. So I mean, if you think most seasons are technically only 12, depending, like 12, between 12 and maybe 24.
Mm-hmm.
So you think technically it was 2 seasons because of how long it ran.
Yeah, 51 episodes.
But there was part of me that was like, man, I really wish they would have brought another season of that out. I really liked that anime. I thought it was good.
Me too. I thought it was cute.
I think the thing is like the way it ended, it was like, well, that was like the supreme bad guy. How do you really come out with another villain that tops how the Soul Eater went,
Right.
It's kind of the Dragon Ball Z trope. Is whenever like the first season, whenever the original Dragon Ball came out, it's like, well, this is the most powerful, and then Dragon Ball Z came out, and it's like, well, Frieza is the most powerful thing, and then they killed Frieza, and then Cell was like, oh, now Cell's powerful, and then Frieza came back to life, and now Frieza's even more powerful, and it's like, yeah, this is the limit of all powers in Dragon Ball Z universe, and it's like, nope, wait, next season, now this is a new, more powerful entity. It's also a lot of yelling. I like the people always joke about Dragon Ball Z. It's just a lot of yelling.
Yeah, I used to make fun of it a lot when I was younger, because it was just an anime I could never get into because it really seemed like they'd have 3 episode arcs of just two guys standing in an open field screaming at each other
It's true.
and powering up before like nothing would happen. And so instead, I just watched Zoids.
I mean, I like the Dragon Ball Z, the Dragon Ball franchise in general, but
Yeah.
that's the one thing that all anime do is just filler. And that
I
can
mean,
really
yeah, it's
drag
very.
the show down.
I'm not really sure like what like the reasoning for that is, but like I understand that that's just part of like a specific genre. It's like the way they do things. So like, and I know that Dragon Ball Z is an extremely beloved franchise, and so like I'm not trying to hate on it. I just could not get into it. Like I was in my school's anime club and everything, and I just didn't like it.
I think
But our anime club was like split down the middle. Like you had the people that liked the more obscure animes, and then the people that liked like the more like mainstream stuff that would air in America. And like we literally would like split the room in half and like argue about that stuff.
Well, I think part of what the fillers come down to is to be able to extend the season.
Right.
Because a lot of those
So-
fight sequences, like I've seen some anime where the fight sequence is like 3 episodes, and you're just like, okay, is this fight ever going to end? So I think sometimes they throw in a few fillers just so they can extend the season up the full length without. Because some of those stories, if they just had the whole series, it'd be like, all right, it'd be done in 5 episodes.
Mhm.
So you got to throw in some backstories, and also it gets you to bond to certain characters. Like, oh well, this character is actually a pretty good guy, and like Kakashi Sensei, where they've done several flashbacks when Kakashi was a child, and explains like why he is the way he is. Why he's so aloof, why he's
Also,
so
I wonder
strict.
if like you have your eye on syndication while thinking of an anime, maybe you want more variety. Like Dragon Ball Z was on Cartoon Network forever. It still might be. I don't.
Oh yeah, it is. That's that. Their Adult Swim. They're after dark. They're 10 o'clock. I always see Dragon Ball in there. Although I don't have a cable box anymore. I got rid of it because I was like, I don't watch TV all that often. And my provider was like,
Yeah,
well, you
it's
could just watch it digitally if you have a smart TV. And I was like, oh, I have a smart TV. And then I realized my smart TV is like the first generation smart TV that I can't get their app. So I was like, oh, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, we have a smart TV, and there's certain channels we can get with because we have Xfinity internet Wi-Fi and stuff. But like there's there seems to be, I don't know, an issue with certain channels. Like Cartoon Network is extremely difficult for us to watch anything from because everything's behind a paywall. Even though we have like cable, but you need to like watch it either on a cable box. Same thing with Adult Swim. Like Adult Swim has its own app separate from Cartoon Network, and it's really annoying
It is really
to
annoying.
access any of that stuff.
And Cartoon
Yeah.
Network was like a big deal for my childhood, so I'd like to be able to go back and watch, kind of like episodes of Hamtaro and stuff.
Yeah,
I think I've only ever watched like 2 episodes of Hamtaro. I just was.
I
never
used to watch
into
it
Every day
every
after school.
morning.
Every
I
day
was
after school.
getting ready for school. It would be on.
would
I'd watch
watch-
one episode.
I'd watch
While getting
Buffy
ready.
in the morning while getting ready for school, and then once I got home, I had a lineup of I think it was Hamtaro, Totally Spies, and Sailor Moon. Those were like the trifecta for
Isn't Totally
middle school me.
Spies like the like an American version of an anime? Like
It was
trying to
it
be-
was the American version yeah, of an anime that was also basically Charlie's Angels.
Or like Sailor Moon for Americans.
It wasn't Sailor Moon. It wasn't anywhere on that level, but it was
Yeah.
still
Okay.
I was
cute.
gonna say the anime that I first started watching that got me into it was like Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Cowboy Bebop, because it was all the stuff that was
Yeah,
on Cartoon
Yeah.
Network late at night.
like Inuyasha, Big O. I really liked Big O. I thought that was such a cool, like noir anime, and it got me into other kind of like cyberpunk animes like Ergo Proxy and Serial Experiments Lane, and
See,
kind of those darker,
this is
moodier things.
this is very interesting to me because like the three of us, I think, all grew up with a completely different taste in anime. And it just goes to show like how vast it is even in the American market when you're getting all this stuff secondhand. Like, because one of my first animes I ever really watched and loved was Zoids. When you're talking about American market, but then I really got into anime in high school when I joined my high school's anime club. Just because I wasn't even that into anime, but it was just like there's something to do. I had nerdy friends, so like I joined, and then I got really into. There's very specific animes like Noir. It was one of my favorite animes of all time. There's an anime called X, and they also had a movie. It was a series and a movie that I was really into. And there were a few others that I can't remember off the top of my head, but these like more obscure, really dramatic, like emotionally dramatic, heavy, dark animes. Like that's what I really
Yeah,
like.
same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you
So
ever see? Speaking of just dark animes, what was it? Fist of the North Star.
I feel like I
no, I
probably
haven't.
have seen an episode or two of that, but I am not recalling any of it.
It was. I just
Hmm.
remember that this guy had like this special punch where
Okay.
he would like hit you and then your skull would explode. And I remember like that just. Oh my god! I remember seeing that. And I was just like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, I'm looking this up now. Uh,
Following like kind of stuff that
guess
I
it
would
debuted in
see
'89.
on like Cartoon Network, I would also get like Shonen Jump like manga issues from like local stores. And then once my family got digital cable, Funimation actually had kind of like on-demand episodes that you had to keep up with on kind of like a bi-weekly basis. And I think I watched Chobits when I was like way too young to be watching Chobits and like understanding all the kind of like subtle and not so subtle perversions. And then yeah, from there I was like, yeah, I need to see more animes.
What was the one anime? And I can't think of it. I'm trying to find it. It was back in the 90s, and I remember like everybody was in like a computer universe, and it was like one of the first animes that was like actually 3-dimensional.
Yeah. Oh,
And it
I
was
know that was
This
one of
is
my
Sword Art
favorite
Online?
shows.
no. They were like they were
No,
actual like
they
it was
lived
actually,
in a computer.
and there was three of them. There's like the young kid, the older guy and woman, and like there's always glitches and
Yeah,
stuff.
and
Yeah,
they
I thought
had
that
to go.
was Sword
They were the
Art Online.
NPCs.
No.
They were the
No,
NPCs in
this
the
was
video
before.
game.
This was way before Sword Art Online.
Yeah, they were the main characters in the show were the NPCs in the video games. Whenever the
I
user of the
remember.
computer would
I
have to.
remember this. I'm trying
What
to.
was that called?
Yeah.
We have to look
Yeah,
up like.
Reboot. It was called
Reboot.
Reboot.
I remember that was like I remember
That
like
show
back
was
in
like
the 90s I was
so
like
important to me.
I was like, "Oh my god, like it's like computer generated, like it's not like drawn cartoons." But then you look at it now and you look at it like, "Man, that was really poorly designed compared to like what
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can do now."
But I remember the city was like a circuit board, and I
Yeah.
always like loved like looking at it. And the most interesting thing was whenever they would start playing a game, like when the user would start playing a game, this giant square would drop out of the sky over a section of the circuit board, and the main characters, the heroes, because they were the best at playing the games, would try to get in there. And everyone that got trapped in this square that lived in this circuit city, no pun intended, would become the characters in this game, and they had to win because if they lost in the game, everybody that was in that game would die. and
Yeah.
like disappear. And so these heroes had to beat the computer, had to beat the person, you or me or whoever is like playing the computer game to like survive. And basically they were like the heroes of their city. And then I remember in the later seasons they introduced the internet into the game, and there was like this Silver Surfer type character who showed up 'cause he was surfing the web, and it was yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez, I remember
I
that.
didn't so it spanned 4 seasons. I did not I don't see, it's been so long. I didn't actually remember it spanned 4 seasons. It was one of those, it was such a weird anime for its time.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow, I completely forgot about that show. And wow, yeah, the graphics on that show I remember thinking were amazing, and they look terrible. Like,
Yeah,
if you
it's
just Google the images, it's really bad.
I mean, but
It's like,
looking on IMDb, it has a 7.8 out of 10 though.
Not bad.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. It's
Yeah, I mean the graphics are like legitimately like I mean,
they were above
you
and
ever
beyond for
play
their
any
time.
yeah, for their time, I guess. Yeah, it was a 90s TV show, but man, it's bad.
I
Really bad.
I
And
just
also,
no, go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You
Apparent
you got. I
is
was
there a
just thinking
Netflix show?
about the serial experiments lane. Had you ever seen that, Drew?
No.
So this is like super early, like cyberpunk anime from like '98, I guess. And it was about this young woman who becomes obsessed with being on the wired, which in this universe is considered the internet. But she starts getting kind of all these cryptic messages from this girl who goes missing from her class, who is claiming to now live solely on the internet, and her body was taken by the internet. And it's so like kind of surreal, and it really like shook my young 8-year-old brain. I think like it definitely changed me. And thinking about stuff like reboot and just like all the kind of like really generic stuff that they would show on Cartoon Network. I'm surprised that like uh,
It,
I'm surprised I'm
it
surprised that they wouldn't try for more quality. That's all
yeah.
I'm saying.
But it does go to show you like how anime has changed. Because back then, I feel like anime back in the 90s is a little bit more wholesome. Like it was
I don't
more violent,
know.
but I feel like there was, maybe it just me, but I felt like there was less fan service, or maybe it just wasn't
Yeah,
as mainstream.
yeah, less fan service for sure. But I'd say it was like in some ways, depending on what you were watching, a little grittier.
Yeah. Well, because in the 90s, they were like, everyone's scarred. Let's just get them started early.
Yeah, yeah.
So I honestly haven't been paying attention to the last things you guys are saying because I looked up reboot and
We were talking about how like anime back in the 90s felt grittier, but there was less like fan service.
oh yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, that's the beauty of like so many animes I think I got into in high school, because they were dark and gritty and really intense, and I wasn't getting that sort of stuff from like American programming that I liked, because I was a very emotional, intense child who liked the dark, heavy shit. And
I'm
yeah,
Batman.
so that's yeah. Basically, I loved Batman the animated series. That was like one of the darkest kid shows I've ever seen
I was
at the
just
time.
thinking about how Big O, which was also on the Toonami run, was so reminiscent of kind of like Batman now, like the gritty kind of Batman that we're seeing now. And there was even kind of like a butler with a eye patch. There was like a lady sidekick who was an android, and obviously it was like a mech anime. But the thing that always stuck with me about Big O is that it was one of like the first dystopian type medias that I saw. And within this universe for Big O, they lived in a like bubble city basically. And I remember being so fascinated by that. And again, I was like too young to be watching this show. What was it 2001? I was 11. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess it just goes to show you how anime has changed a little bit. Like I started watching Food Wars, which has been out for a while, and I just started watching it this year, and I think they're like 5 seasons in, and it's so funny because of just how weird the fan service is. Like I like when you eat, so like the main character, when you eat his food, it's so good. Like you go into this universe where like your clothes explode and you're just like have this like orgasmic experience, and it cracks me up because I'm like, man, I've never eaten
It is.
anything that good where like my clothes exploded and I was like transmitted into this world of like just pure bliss.
There's
It's
like one of
so
the ladies.
ridiculous.
One of the ladies eats his dish, and like she's surrounded by angels who make her come. Like,
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's blatant too. Even in like the edited versions we're watching, it's so
it's just so funny though. Like
blatant.
she's like, "Ooh, get off me," and he just like keeps massaging her. What's so funny though is like I've watched like the actual Japanese versions of anime and then watched the US versions and how censored they are because of, like sexual content, but then you'll see like American anime, they're just so violent and you're like, that's where we're drawing the line.
so
Yeah.
wait, is it more or less censored in
Um,
a dubbed version?
I think it's usually the same. It's not usually the dub versus sub. It's like if it's the American, sometimes they'll like the TV version, they'll like clean up some of the nudity. Like, oh well, even though they don't show anything, she doesn't have any underwear on, so they'll like paint underwear on. I haven't really noticed too much. It
Yeah.
really depends.
I mean, when I was watching it, I only watched the first, I don't know, few episodes, but it seemed like it was edited. Like it seemed like they like with the way that the shots were done, like they were covering up straight up these women being fucked by food.
Yeah.
Like,
I will
like,
say that's the one thing American like when they move it to the American, like they do a lot of
Yeah,
heavy
the
editing.
market.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because in America we censor sex, and then in the rest of the world, I guess they censor violence.
Ren and I
So-
were watching Seven Mortal Sins, I don't know, like a month or two ago. And we were watching one episode that was censored on Funimation and another episode that was uncensored on Funimation. And literally, when like looking at this woman's crotch or nipples, they had like a pentagram icon covering and floating these bits on the censored
Yeah.
version. And then, like, like the quote unquote real thing on the uncensored version. It was just so absurd. It's like, why is that better? Why is it better to not see reality?
Yeah.
So if you wanna see a hilarious difference, there's an anime called Interspecies Review.
I don't know, Drew. This sounds rough.
It is literally an anime made for fan service. It is like, but well, it's the same thing with High School DX or High School DD or DXD. That's another conversation I want to get into in a minute. High School Double D, like a lot of times it'll just be like a little anime character that's over top of like the censored bits. It'll be like a face.
Yeah.
But I got to this conversation because I want to jump on it because it's funny. Have you ever seen Hunter x Hunter? Okay, so
No.
it's also on Netflix. But the title is Hunter, and then there's an X in between it, and then a Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a conversation I had with people. It was like, do you say the X? And someone was like, no, it's just Hunter x Hunter. And I was like, no, I say the X, so I say Hunter x Hunter. Same with High School DxD. It's technically High School High School DD because of one of the characters, fan service anime. But I was like, yeah, no, I always say the X just because I don't know why. But that's how my brain works. Is like when I see Hunter x Hunter, I say Hunter x Hunter. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think that would be my first instinct unless I were to actually be corrected or like look it up. There's an X there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess I come from the hardcore world where like a lot of straight edge bands have an X in their name, and you just don't say the X.
The X is silent, brah.
Yeah, the X is silent.
But I don't know, like so.
Like my name isn't Alexis.
Alexis.
My name is Alexis.
Alexis.
I don't know. Like I think everyone at some point gets annoyed with fan service after so long. Like, okay, a little bit of fan service. So what's funny is I love My Hero Academia. Like I think it's one of like my favorite animes to watch. But I feel like the one character, what's his name? Mineta, the guy that has like the little sticky hair.
I don't know, Drew. I don't watch the same animes.
Yeah, I watch all the mainstream because I'm that kid.
You said it, not me.
I am. I watch mainstream anime a lot. I can't help it. Because most of my friends will be like, "Hey, you should check this anime out," and then like 6 months later, it'll be like the most popular anime. I'm like, "Oh, okay, let me watch it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I think it just comes down to time. I just don't have enough time.
I don't know. I feel like My Hero Academia could have been such a good anime without any of the fan service stuff put into it. Like, of course, they have a character who's a giant pervert. Like one of the student characters is just this giant pervert, and the whole reason why he wants to become a hero is because he wants to like get girls to like him and be able to like hook up with them and stuff. And it's like I feel like they could have taken him out, and it would have just as been good, or made him not a pervert, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's like what's that, Lex? What was that? We were watching a video about somebody talking about an anime that's real popular on Netflix right now. With the like those animal people.
Oh, BNA or whatever.
I don't know, but they were talking about how the show like leads you on to think it's gonna be like fan service, but then will like disappoint you in that way. But in reality, like when it comes to like building a story, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's called BNA,
like
Brand New Animal.
Okay.
I don't think I was there to watch that video with you. I don't know what you're talking about.
We were watching that Japanese YouTuber you like.
Oh, Aki Dearest or Charla?
Yeah, Aki Dearest was talking about. I don't think it was BNA. It started with an A. It's some anime. It starts with an A. I don't know.
It's about animals.
Oh, like Agretsuko? Are you talking about Agretsuko?
Yeah.
Oh, the little fox girl anime. Or
the anime people.
Yeah.
I said they're animal people. They're animals, and it's like a Japanese version of BoJack Horseman or something.
Okay.
Yeah. And well, yeah. So what I was just.
Did we lose Ryn?
I think we might have lost Ryn. It was in the middle of a sentence.
He was in the middle of a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said animal people, and I was like, oh, BNA. Like that's they're half human, half animal.
No, he was thinking about actual.
Yeah, Agretsuko, which is hilarious. That anime is funny. Just because like it's funny how like soft and like funny she is, and then like she's just like into like death metal.
Yeah. I mean, women also contain multitudes.
Oh, I know, but I guess it's just funny with the anime, like how cute and innocent she is, and then she goes to the karaoke bar at night and is just like, ah.
I, take care of babies during the day and stab people virtually at night.
I put on black face paint and just and just growl all night.
I might, depending on the day.
Yeah, Ryn, if you can hear this, you probably need to reset your, because he's lighting up, but nothing's.
I mean, it's been staying lit up. Okay.
Okay. But no, BNA was an interesting anime too.
I don't think I've seen anything about that.
Hello, I'm back. I don't know.
Hello.
Yeah, you're back.
Did my voice cut out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it literally was lighting green, but there is nothing.
Weird. What's the last thing you heard me say?
When we announced that you were talking about Agretsuko, and that was pretty much it.
Oh, really? Dang, yeah. I thought I had a good. I went on for a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, what I was saying was, okay, I'll summarize it, make it a little more simple, but I like when a storyline doesn't go the way you want it to go. Like, I want it to feel more real, because like life is never going to give you exactly what you want or exactly what you're hoping for. And so whenever people are shipping characters or just like hoping, this thing works out in the end or whatever it is, like when a show doesn't give you that, whenever it's like, well, this is just what reality is, and it's disappointing, but like, oh man, you have fully rounded, developed story, and it's like life is full of disappointment, but that's not always necessarily a bad thing. It's about like making the best of what you're given, and I don't know, it just feels more real
except
to me.
when you watch Ride Your Wave and you're so in love with this couple.
And you're just crying the entire
And you're
time.
crying, and you watch this woman slowly devolve into hysteria, finding her partner in every watery substance she comes across, including a blow up beluga whale that she fills with water and like traipses around.
It's the only way she can hug her boyfriend again.
Yeah. It's the same person who did Devilman Crybaby, and it was like Ren and I usually try and catch every G Kids anime movie that comes out. Like another one was Your Name, and what else has G Kids come out with recently? Bunch of good stuff. I would definitely recommend G Kid films. Like Children of the Sea is coming out soon, and I really want to see that. Weathering with You.
Studio Ponok stuff.
Yeah, really Studio Ponok stuff has been really, really good.
Yeah, but Kaz, when you had disconnected, I said the thing that cracked me up about Akatsuko was how like she's like this like really kind and soft office worker, and then at night she goes to the karaoke bar and it's just like face paint death metal music.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, and I know people like that. I think that's so cool. That's the way you got to be.
But no, the other anime that I thought you were talking about, BNA, is an interesting anime because it's about this girl who was a human and suddenly becomes like a tanuki, human animal kind of thing. And like she doesn't know why. She was like, I was literally a human a day ago, and now all of a sudden I'm a tanuki. And she moves to this city where it's all animals.
Okay.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's not a bad anime.
I'd look that up
because there's still humans in the world, and like the humans hate the beasts.
You know, talking about Batman the animated series, if I don't know if you ever watched Batman Beyond.
Oh yeah,
but there was a whole plot.
The Splicers.
Yeah, the Splicers. That's what it's making me think of. The people who were like hybrids of animals and humans.
I think that's what, like, when you think about it, like that shit's been around for so long. Like just the concept of like combining your DNA to make like a new super being.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. It's just it's crazy to think about. Like in the 90s, you saw it a little bit, and then like Disney was like, you know what? I feel like when I mean that stuff's always been around, but I feel like Disney coming out with Zootopia kind of just gave that more publicity because of how big was that Disney who made Zootopia?
I don't know.
I think it was.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I just know
it
that
was
people
Disney
are like
Zootopia. I think
obsessed
the whole
with Zootopia.
I think the whole anthropomorphic like became like more mainstream when Disney made it. I feel like it was kind of a niche thing where like Batman touched on it, and then Disney was like, let's just make a full movie about it. And then all of a sudden, like, you just see all
these like dipping your toe into furry culture.
Yeah, and then Disney everything. Like jumped in, and now like you see all these television shows, and you just see more of it. I think Disney was just like, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. If something gets into Disney, then it's mainstream.
Yeah,
it's wild too that Disney's making the moves it's making. I mean, because they're just trying to take over the entire entertainment world. But like the fact that they're doing Star Wars now, and then they're not even just doing Star Wars, but they're doing like really brutal versions of Star Wars. Like the Mandalorian series is like excessively violent and gruesome for Star Wars at least. And
I love it.
Oh, I love it.
I think it's because Disney has the budget and has the ability to take risks that they can say like, hey, if it doesn't work out, you know, it sucks, but we can try it because they have the backing to do it, you know.
It just blows my mind that they're willing to do do that. Like I thought whenever they acquired Lucasfilm, they were going to do like they were going to candy coat everything, but instead with the Mandalorian and then with Rogue One, like they were both extremely dark versions of the Star Wars universe.
I
Like,
think it's because
this is what I've always
as we've
wanted.
seen, people, not every movie has to be, what gumdrops and sugar plums. Like you can make dark movies that. I'm gonna say if anything is proof of that, it's the Deadpool and then Logan.
Oh yeah, of course, Deadpool. Which, yeah, Lex and I still need to watch Logan.
One of the first times Ryn and I ever tried to watch Logan was one of the first times we ever made out. So we never finished that movie.
Netflix and chill gone wrong.
It wasn't Netflix. It was torrent on my laptop and make out heavily with no intentions of chill.
Hey, we don't torrent. Don't let Disney know that. Don't torrent.
We would. No one would ever.
We would never do that. We're not pirates.
It was a legal torrent.
What?
I honestly, what's funny? Speaking of just, I thought like after Blu-ray was a thing, like when everyone started switching, like it's like, oh man, having all these. I honestly thought like, okay, like USB drives are a thing, SD cards. People are just gonna start putting movies on SD cards. So like when you buy a movie, it's gonna be on a card, and then like they would make like instead of a DVD player, you would have this box that you would slip the card into. And
yeah, or just like a jump drive.
Yeah, and then they just went straight to streaming, and I was like, yeah, it was like honestly for the longest time I thought after DVDs it was just gonna be like a jump drive or something, that you were just gonna get like an SD card or something.
Yeah, my old band was seriously, we were discussing when we first formed the band, instead of doing like cassettes or CDs like for our like demos and stuff, we were like, hey, maybe we should just buy like 1 gig jump drives and put our demos on that and sell it at shows,
Yeah, that's where I thought the technology was going to go, where everything was just going to be on drives like that, and then like it was like, nah, it's just going to go to streaming. We're going to everything's going to be online. I was going to say
Yep, exactly.
Most stuff
even for bands, Bandcamp.
Yeah, most stuff you buy, like most DVDs you buy now have a digital copy. They're just like, yeah, you just put this code in somewhere and you download the movie.
Oh, I get so mad when I buy a record, like a vinyl record, and it doesn't have a digital code. I'm like, because like the record now is more just a collector's item. I mean, you can still listen to vinyl and it sounds great when you have a system, but for the most part, I'm like, I'm gonna just put that shit on my phone. Like so like I better have a download code. If it doesn't have a download code, I'm like, what's the point of me even buying it? I love the art. I love like holding a record in my hands, but it's so rare that I'm actually dropping the needle, Same thing with cassettes. Like some bands will sell cassettes. It'll be like $5 for a cassette, and good bands, smart bands will slip a little like download code in there, which you could do even through your own Bandcamp. You don't need to be on a record label to do that. You can have download codes through Bandcamp.
Have either of you ever watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
I have not.
I can never get into it, and like so many of my friends absolutely like love it, and it's just I've watched like 2 episodes, and I was just like, this is just too.
The style reminds me a lot of Space Dandy, which I loved. I loved Space Dandy. Amazing sci-fi anime, really funny, and like stylistically very cool looking. That is definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, I like Space Dandy too. I didn't get like fully into it, but when it was on, I'd watch it. But I don't know, something about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like it just never sat with me where I actually wanted to watch it.
Same.
And this is just making me feel like I need to watch more anime.
Dude, there's so many anymore now. Like I can't keep up. I just if it pops up on my Netflix feed, I'll give it 1 or 2 episodes, and then if I like it, like I liked the first season of Attack on Titan, and I haven't seen any more since.
Oh, a good friend of mine. I mean, years ago, back when it was back when I was still living in my old place, so it had to be at least 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. This it was the same person that introduced me to Death Note, and got really into that show, and then like he was like, "Oh man, the show it's brand new. It's really like cool. Like you gotta watch Attack on Titan." I still have not watched a
I
single
didn't
episode.
like it that
Now
much. I was a little annoyed by it.
they have like video games out now and everything. It's like a big deal. People are really into it.
Yeah,
Um,
I
yeah.
never got into it. Like I said, I got into the first season, and just for some reason it just slipped my mind. Then I just was never really that concerned.
Mhm. Wait, so you did you mention earlier that you watched Metal Alchemist?
Yeah,
Okay, so I never watched that show, but in high school, in anime club, we watched like a full season of this show called Full Metal Panic. Have you ever seen that?
yeah, I know Full Metal Panic.
It's like a comedy version or something like that, right? I can't really remember. It was so long ago. I
I
mean,
don't. I didn't think they
but
were related.
No, Full Metal Panic is not a parody. It's a completely
Yeah.
it's a completely different thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's how clueless I am. I typically walk through the world not really knowing what's happening around me.
What
Cassie?
about? Have you seen Paranoia Agent?
No.
So that's another really dark anime from Madhouse, which is a company I really love, and it's Satoshi Kon's like anime. Also, he did like Paprika. If you had seen that movie, or Perfect Blue,
Nope.
um, all like really surreal, crazy shit. But Paranoia Agent, I think, is something, Ryn, I know you would love, and if you like weird stuff, Drew, also you would like it. Very violent, but also kind of like a mystery thriller
Okay.
type. Yeah, good times.
Cool.
I still have yet to watch was it Mob Psycho? Or not Mob, was it Psychopass?
Psychopaths, yeah.
Psychopass.
Also another really good anime.
Yeah, that's
You
one of the ones
know,
that I
you
wanted to
know,
watch.
what we should do is we should pick something that all three of us will watch, and then we can come back discuss it.
Then I'm gonna have to watch Psychopass, but I'm gonna have to see if I can find it.
I'd be down for Psychopaths. Also, like, if you, Drew, if you haven't seen fucking Paprika and Perfect Blue, you have to watch those. Like, they are classics, and Madhouse and Satoshi Kon in general are classics. Like, kind of like a darker version of Miyazaki stuff.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking up the trailers of them. So yeah, they're gonna say they have a similar art style to them.
Yeah, there's something about Miyazaki that like has always just been able to like touch me in a way. Like it has this level of it's almost like you view the world through the lens of like a photographer or something like that, like a somebody who just sees the beauty in like the smallest little details and the simplest things,
Yeah,
and
it's like
somehow like
living with rose-colored glasses, basically, and just taking pride in like the things that you have to do and finding the good in them. I think is part of the beauty of Miyazaki stuff.
yeah, yeah, truly. um
I also know that he
yeah,
purposefully writes like his female leads with friendships rather than romances, which is very refreshing.
yeah,
And
I took the word out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say. Very refreshing.
very nice to see as a young 10-year-old first stumbling upon Spirited Away, and then earlier watching Kiki's Delivery Service and pretending to be her on a house broom. And making my cat pretend to be Gigi.
Yeah,
You had a little black cat.
it's just so hard to keep up with so many animes because like I feel like every like couple weeks is like, oh, you need to check out this one. Oh, check out this one. Oh, I just found this one. You're just like, son of a bitch. There's not enough.
Yeah,
in the universe.
that's the
For sure.
truth. I mean, I remember a few years ago when Netflix really started to put out a lot of animes, and I'm just like, for an anime fan, like how are you gonna be able to keep up with this? It's
In my
and that's the
opinion,
thing.
Netflix isn't
That's-
even releasing like the good animes, in my opinion, and I don't know why. There are so many good, dark like animes for adults in the world, and they're just releasing all this kiddie bullshit on there.
I think it's just their way of. I think Netflix's bigger focus is on family
Yeah,
based anime versus like adult ones. You know.
The Facebook
sure.
of streaming services.
yeah.
Just as long as they don't
That's
try to, as long as they don't try to get Crunchyroll shut down.
I have tried Crunchyroll in the past, and I always end up going back to Funimation when I'm really like feeling an anime. I don't know why.
What I do like about Funimation is the fact that they do have like the unedited versions, like the true versions of an anime.
Yeah.
But like that to me is really important. I really don't like that so many animes are brought to the American market, cut up, and yeah, like I don't know. That stuff just bothers me more than anything, and has actually taken me out of animes that I was into before because I'm like, you could tell something's like blatantly edited, or like the whole thing with Sailor Moon with there was like a queer relationship that was happening in that,
Oh
right?
yeah, and they
then
like made them out just to be best friends.
yeah,
Cousins,
yeah.
I thought.
Or
yeah,
Cousins.
which is even more fucked up whenever you know what it actually is, and yeah, that's not all right.
Sailor Moon itself could be like a whole discussion that I'm not going to get into right now, but
Yeah,
maybe a later time.
This was a good chat.
Yeah.
I definitely think we'll have to like find anime, each watch one, and then get into like a conversation of like, this is what we thought about it. Just
You know, we could do it where we pick one in a genre in like recent times, and we
just
each
watch it and then discuss our
like the things we find in common or whatever.
Yeah,
I'd be really into that. Or if we just want to watch like an episode or a movie, like okay, one of my favorite animes of all time is a film called Metropolis. And I don't know, Drew, if you've ever seen it. I remember I tried to get Lex to watch it once, but I think you fell asleep during it, like pretty early. And it was really like an important movie to me whenever I was, I don't know, in 10th grade or something. I really loved it, and I haven't seen it since then. But it's excellent. It's just like an anime version of the classic movie Metropolis. But it's sort of like semi-dystopian future, kind of feels like a precursor to The Matrix or something like that. And I think that's a wonderful movie. Yeah, sort of like iRobot vibes, but really kind of almost like goofy, like anime style. Like, I don't know, like the animation style, I mean. But like it's kind of a dramatic, serious anime. But yeah, if we all decide if we like make a choice of like what we all want to watch, then we can come back and discuss it. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Same.
All right, well, that has been the Nerdiculous podcast, guys. Hopefully we'll be back next week, so take it easy.
Bye.
All right, bye.